obviously. And the user gets to input 1 or 2 depending on whether they want to analyze the data for Illinois or for Maryland. I'm going to start with the Maryland data, and then the user gets 8 operations: plot deaths, plot mortality rates, plot deaths by year range, where the user inputs the year they want to start, plot mortality by year range, which is plot mortality, and then the user enters the year they want to start. Then there's a plot for Illinois versus Maryland deaths, for Illinois versus Maryland deaths by year range, where the user inputs the year they want to start. Plot Illinois versus Maryland total mortality rate, and then plot Illinois versus Maryland mortality rate by year range. So we're going to go through every operation. So the first one will tell you the total number of deaths from 1919 to 2008, and then it gives you the figure. Then call it again for Illinois, and then we start with the second one. You can see the infant mortality rate, and it tells you that the average mortality rate from 1919 to 2008 is 28.7. For the third one, since it's for a year range, it asks what year you want to start. For example, you can do 1924. And then it gives you the total number of deaths from 1924 to 2008, and it gives you the plot of the number of deaths versus years for the year range that the user inputs. Again, for number 4, it's mortality by year range. Let's pick the same year, 1924. It gives you, again, the mortality rate versus year plot from 1924 to 2008. For the fifth one, it gives you the total deaths from both Illinois and Maryland from 1919 to 2008, and you can see both data in the same plot. And we have the legend so you can see which one's Maryland and which one's Illinois. For number 6, again, it's plot Illinois versus Maryland deaths by year range. So you pick a year, and then it gives you both Illinois and Maryland deaths in the same plot. Okay, so for number 7, it plots the mortality rate for both Illinois and Maryland together in the same plot. And then for the 8th one, it's for mortality rate but by year range. So again, the user inputs the year range. And it gives the plot, and it says the average mortality rate for Illinois and Maryland between the year range for both of them.
Next, we'll compute all the operations for Maryland. So we'll start off doing the same thing for operation 1, which is the plot deaths for 1919 to 2008, which is operation 2 for Maryland. So the total number of deaths is computed at the bottom, and that's the graph for the infant deaths in Maryland. Next, for operation 2, which will plot out the mortality rates from 1919 to 2008 for Maryland, can be shown above. For operation 3, which is the plot deaths by year range, 19, and the user would be able to input their desired year range. So let's try 1950, and that's from 1950 to 2008. And then we'll try operation 4, which is the plot mortality by year range, and we'll try 1980 this time. And it'll give you the computed average for mortality rate and the graph. And then the next operation 5, which is plot Illinois versus Maryland deaths, which is the same graph as before. And it shows both the Illinois and Maryland. And then for operation 6, which is the plot Illinois versus Maryland, deaths by the year range, and we'll have to put in the input. So we'll try 1970. It'll give us the respected year, or the deaths from 1970 to 2008, and you can see above that it shows both Illinois and Maryland. So we'll try operation 7 now, which is plot Illinois versus Maryland total mortality rates. Now it shows the mortality rates for Illinois and Maryland. And then operation 8, we'll do 2000. And now it shows a graph for both Illinois and Maryland for the year 2000 to 2008.
And that's basically our project. We chose this data because we thought it was interesting how both the mortality rate and the deaths for both states, even though they're very different numbers, that they're both decreasing. We just thought that was kind of interesting. And yeah,
Yep,
that's our
that's
project.
it.